and how to lose and how to choose.
Well, hello, this is Linda Carbonell, and welcome to another edition of Walking Through Life. Today, my guest is Dina Rounds, and you are from DCF, right?
Yes, here in Hartford.
In Hartford, right. And I think today you wanted to talk a little bit about foster care and the needs of foster care.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
My job is a resource coordinator, and that is to recruit and train foster parents. And this district has a dire need for more foster parents. I've been doing this for 6 years, and when I started, we had 42 kids in custody, and we now have just over 100. And our number of foster parents has not increased all that much, so a lot of our kids wind up out of district. And we would like to get some more local people in, and you can foster any way you want. I'm happy to work with whatever somebody wants to do. We try to work as a team, and that includes the foster parents, the birth parents, the social worker, the resource coordinator, the therapist, the teachers, anybody that's in touch with the child. And I often reach out to the schools to see if they have anybody that will take a child. That's been a good match for us.
One thing I can think of is, what are the qualifications to become a foster parent? Is there training, or
Yes.
how do you know that you would fit the criteria, or how would you know that this is something that you'd want to do?
Well, a lot of our people have an urge to work with children, and they don't know where to put it. So they'll call us. And to be a foster parent, you have to be 21 or over. You have to have a place to live, obviously, and you have to have enough room for another person. Babies can be placed in the same bedroom as the foster parents, but over 2, they have to have their own room. For the way you start, the way you start is you go to either the website, or you can call our office directly. Do you want me to give you the number?
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's 802-295-8840, and ask to speak with the resource coordinator. And I will get information mailed out to you that includes how to become a foster parent, what's involved in it. I have a whole packet of information that I send. My card is in the packet, and it includes my direct phone line, my email, and I'm happy to answer questions. Then there's an application in the packet. If you decide to go forward, complete the application, send that in to me. I do background checks on all adults over 16 in the home. Assuming everybody passes, then I contact the person and make arrangements to do a home visit, come out and review the application with them, make sure their home meets all the safety requirements. They have to have smoke detectors and CO2 detectors and a fire extinguisher and a way out, 2 methods of egress out of a bedroom, a window and a door, 2 doors. And assuming that you meet all of that, then I'm able to offer a provisional license, which means I can use you that day. And then I send the application on to our licensing people, and they assign it to an official licenser. And he comes out and does another home inspection, but his is much more in depth. And then he writes up a report, and if everybody's in agreement, then you get a state license that's usually good the first time for a year, and then you renew it after that every 3 years. And we offer training, which must be done within 12 months of becoming a provisionally licensed foster home. And that training is done at our office. We also offer other trainings through the year. For instance, there's a conference every year up in Burlington that's free to foster parents, except for a $35 fee to join an organization that does the conference. And that offers 10 hours of training in addition. The more training you have, the higher rate you can be paid. And we offer specific training all over the state. If this area has a very large drug problem, so we have a lot of babies that are born addicted, and we have training on how to care for those babies and how to connect with the birth parents, because we do expect birth-parent connection, especially for the babies.
One of the questions I can think of too is that when somebody becomes a foster parent, licensed foster parent, do they have a choice in the child? Is there children brought to them, or how does it happen that the child becomes a part of the foster care?
Good question. When we when I do the initial interview with them, I ask what their preferences are, because I have some people that want only babies. I have some people that will do anything but babies.
Right.
And I've had a lot of people say, I'll take anybody that you have, but no teenagers, because teenagers scare them. And it's whatever the preference of the person is. I try to do that. That's my job, is to match them with what they want. Having said that, I try to hit close sometimes. If you will take 0 to 6 and I have an 8-year-old, I may call and say, I know you only wanted him up to 6, but I've got this child that's 8 with these issues. And I always say to people, you have the right to say no. And I'm not going to lose your name. I'm not going to lose your phone number. I'm going to call you the next time. But I really do try to find good matches, because we don't want to move children any more often than we have to.
What is the support system like for the foster parents once a child is placed with them?
That is my job as a resource coordinator. I'm the foster parent support. The social worker is there primarily for the child, but the social worker and I work in conjunction to try and support the foster parents. We also are working on a support group in this district for foster parents. We're just getting it off the ground and hoping it to be up and running in the fall. I have several experienced foster parents that are willing to have their name given to a new foster parent, so if they're at the end of their rope for whatever reason, they can call this family if they can't reach us.
What a good idea.
Yeah, and that's what's suggested by one of my foster parents. And in this town, there's a group that sort of did that on their own. They knew each other through church or school, and they didn't realize they were all fostering until they were talking one day. So they sort of formed their own informal group, and they're going to be part of our bigger group. And if there's an emergency after hours, we have an emergency number that somebody can call to get supports, whether it's an ill child that they can't comfort, tantrums that they can't get the child out of after hours. We do have 24-hour hotline that they can call to get some information. If it's during work hours, either myself or the social worker are available to put supports in place. We also offer respite care, so that if a foster family needs a break, I have people who do very short term, a weekend or a few days, to give a family a break, because their kids are hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even under the best of circumstances.
Right, and I think, such as, my case when I was in all my foster cares, I think that later on in life, I grew to really appreciate them and look them up, and was able to share what I got from the experience of being with them. And it was just a real blessing for me. And I'm sure that the foster parents really look forward to that process, what they see the child has grown and what the child has got out of foster care.
Yes, because a lot of times it's a very thankless feeling job. The children are mad, the parents are mad, you know, and they're thinking, why am I doing this? And then they get a child that says, gee, when I was with you, you did this. And it made this difference in my life.
That's right.
And it's just huge.
Yeah, it is.
And if I can tell you a little story, I had one child who was extraordinarily difficult. And long after she was out of foster care, she went back to one of the foster parents and said, I owe you an apology because I was terrible. And she's now got a lifelong friend in the foster parents. And it's been wonderful for all of them, because she doesn't have those connections, and now she does. She can come to their house for the holidays. She can go to their house for Thanksgiving, or just call them up and say, how's it going? And those foster parents who basically had said to me, we can't do this with her anymore, are now a big part of her life. And it was really huge that she went back on her own and apologized.
Right.
We didn't make her, and we don't make them.
Right.
Because they're angry, they have a right to their anger, but you don't have a right to take it out on the foster parents.
Right.
And she's done very well making amends.
That's good, and that's a big part of it too. But I think also that foster parenting is a blessing, not only for the child, but also for the foster parent to really feel like they're making a difference, and there's so many opportunities. I remember one that I'd had in. I really wanted to make a shirt. I wanted to make a shirt, and she went out and got me the material and everything. Sat me down, showed me how to do the pattern. She goes, "You can make this," and it was this green hippie shirt, and it had hippie stuff around. She goes, "You can put anything you want in it all." And I just put these designs all over the collar. And all, you know, I had that up until I was like 20, and it was like a size 10, and I'm like a size, 22 at the time. And I said, oh, maybe I have to part with it because I was moving, and I didn't have, much room for anything. But like I'd said, they all had given me gifts, every single one of them. Some of them I couldn't find years later.
Right.
But they live in my heart, and I love them. I very much do, and I think that oftentimes we think that foster children don't appreciate it, when the majority of us, I think, do.
Well, one of the things I think people don't realize that foster kids still love their birth parents, even though, even if they can't live with them, and even though things have happened to them, this is their blood.
Yeah.
And it's a hard thing for a child to want to go home, for the foster parents to hear, I want to go home, when I'm, as a foster parent, obviously doing way better for you. No, you're not blood. And it's been interesting to watch it through the years. Kids want to go home.
Yeah.
And some of the birth parents are willing to keep the foster parents in their life.
And that's great.
We have one now that the child went home, and the birth parents are struggling because they haven't parented for a long time. So once a month, the child goes back to the foster home and takes a weekend with them and gives everybody a break.
Nice.
Yeah, and the foster parents love it because they're still in touch with the child because he was a little guy. And the birth parents get a breather. And it's very effective.
I know I have a nephew in South Carolina that actually started foster care and received a baby, but then a couple of years later, they looked into adopting the baby, and they did. I guess it was something that the parents were willing to do. It worked out great for them. And does that happen often, or does it happen in Vermont?
It does happen. When we take in, particularly an infant, we've taken in a lot of newborns because of the drug problem. The babies are born addicted.
Yeah.
And we look at permanency for the infants within 12 months of them coming into care. If the birth parents are able, that's our first choice, is to get the kids back home if it can be done safely. If the birth parents are together, that's great. If they're not, then we look at each one and see if either of them can offer permanency and safety. If they can't, then we look at their family to see if there's, because we have grandparents and aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters raising their kin.
Right.
If there's no kin available, we have what we call fictive kin, which we all have those people in our lives that are important to us that aren't family. Like my parents' best friends would be fictive kin to me. They knew me since I was born.
Right.
But they're not blood, so you wouldn't look at them as family, but I do. And then we look at the foster parents. If all else fails, we'll say to the foster parents, are you open for permanency? And for our infants, we do try to place with people that will be permanency right from the start, because we don't want to move an infant too many times.
Right. That's important to be located in one spot as long as possible.
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely. And the babies thrive even if they go back home, if they're in one spot and they're loved and they get their needs met. And the birth parents are included in some of the things. We encourage foster parents to bring birth parents to doctor's visits, go to events with the parents if there's a school function. And sometimes that's possible and sometimes it's not due to the circumstances. But it's been very effective to have the birth parents and the foster parents in the same place. And the children then don't feel disloyal to their parents.
Right.
And the parents, if they can make it so that the child doesn't feel pulled in 10 directions, it's much better for everybody.
When a child goes into foster care and a parent has lost custody, are there parenting classes or something that the birth parents can do to make getting their children back a little bit faster or a little bit better?
The Family Place offers parenting classes, and we'll hook them up there. We also work very closely with Easter Seals, and Easter Seals offers what they call family time coaching, where the parents will have a visit with their children however many days a week, and they have a family time coach with them to help them learn how to respond to their child's cues. How to hold the babies if it's babies, how to discipline without hurting the child if it's an older child. And they get a lot of instruction from the social worker, from the Easter Seals worker, and hopefully they're soaking all that in and being able to come back the next week or the next visit and do those things to show that they're working towards being able to have their child back. And it's a good working relationship. We have a lot of connections in the community that help our parents, because we want the kids to go home.
Exactly. Exactly, and I can see that, a lot of us, I guess, I'm not a parent, but a lot of us make mistakes.
Right.
You know what I mean? And to have somebody that's willing to foster a child until we can get a better grip, or until we can, be better able to handle or be more educated. I think that's so important, and the willingness to stick to that and to really get educated. That's something that I think is important for a family. And I think, it's like, what happened to me, and, my mother, was in a hospital for a period of time. And she, like you'd said, had opportunities for parenting classes way back when. Help with it. 5 girls, she definitely needed some help. So I can see the parenting classes and the supports that you're talking about are very positive.
Yes.
Very positive, because you think about it, it's like going back to college or going to college.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah. To learn
is.
more tools, because obviously, your tool belt may not be very full, and if you can fill it up with new tools or learn things from new people, that's what I like to see in a lot of different things. And just parenting classes, I believe, would do something like that, along with, there's like anger management or dialectical behavior therapy, or
and that's
whatever.
the courts will order those different
Yeah.
anger management,
Yeah.
parenting classes, therapy.
Sometimes we take it as court ordered as not very good, but if you look at it in the sense of, okay, this is going to be better for me and better for my child.
And that's what our goal is, always to find the better for the child.
Exactly.
And one of the problems that we have, people will often say, my home is better than the birth parent's home because I can offer this, this, and this. You can't offer blood.
That's right.
And our kids love their parents, and they can love their foster parents too, but they want to go home.
Yeah.
And if we can send them home with safety and supports, that's our goal. And the foster parents, that's the hardest part. And I tell people,
letting go, yeah.
is letting go. And people that want infants, sometimes they get to keep them, and other times I say to almost everybody when they say, "Oh, I'd love to have a baby." Okay, you could have that baby for 11 months, and I could come and say, "Give it back." Can you handle that? And most of the people that do our babies, absolutely. I have one couple here in town that they take them from 0 to 6 weeks when they can't go to daycare because mom is home. And that's what she wants to do. She takes the times when the babies don't sleep and they're drug addicted and they're going through the hardest part, and she says, and I just love them. But she knows they're not staying. Right. And she's okay with that. And she keeps a little album of all the things that happen, and gives it to the birth parents when the child moves on to the next home.
Oh, that's nice.
It is.
That is nice. I think that's important, just to make sure the birth parents are a part of it, even if it is pictures and, or updates or, yeah.
And with the older kids, we encourage them to write letters, to take pictures of themselves doing things and share with their parents. So it's getting much better. Apparently it used to be that foster parents came in one door and birth parents came in another, and they didn't meet. And we found that it's been much more effective all around. The children don't have that push-pull.
Right. I think that's important. I really do, yeah.
It is, absolutely.
All children, I believe, deserve the best in life, the best everything,
Absolutely.
And blood is blood is blood. I grew up with my 5 sisters, and I was very, very loved, and I loved them very much, the whole 9 yards. And I did have good experiences, and I look at it as my little times at my friend's house, my friend house being the adults.
Perfect.
Yeah, so it's good. So, and I would like to encourage the parents that now have their children in foster care to look at it more like this is a way that you can become a parent better, I would think. Yeah, you could do more.
And
like
our birth parents, we've had an incredible run of birth parents who have understood what's happening
Yeah.
and have wanted to do better
Yeah.
and their children safe. And we've had some of our parents that just can't do it, and they realize it early on, and eventually they get comfortable enough to say, my child's better off with you. Can I get pictures?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
we have, Vermont has a post-adoption agreement now, where if a birth parent will voluntarily relinquish their rights, then they can arrange for post-adoption contact, whether it's letters, visits so many times a year, phone calls, depending on how old they are. We try to encourage that connection to stay lifelong, because even though you couldn't live with your parents, they're still your parents.
That's right. And they still love you.
That's right.
Obviously, yeah.
And I always said that in the little packet that I send out. The last line in my letter to people is, please remember that our birth parents love their children and want to parent well. This isn't what they wanted to do as a parent, have their children wind up here. But on the training part, we do offer, in the beginning, you have 12 months to get into a program that we have that runs for, well, we've done it different, but it's 20 hours total of training that's mandatory within 12 months. And then we offer various trainings through the years to upgrade people. And we also have a particular start to training that is 6 hours long, and that tells all about the court system and that kind of thing. And you don't have to be a foster parent to take this training. So if anybody wants to check out the training, they can contact me, and I can give them the information, and you can go through the training and say, you know what, this really isn't for me.
Right.
And that's fine, and the training is free. So
Sounds like a wonderful opportunity.
it is, and
Yeah.
it's we have foster parents and adoptive parents come in. We have an amazing woman who, she's my assistant now. She's adopted 3 kids, and she's got 1 more that she's going to adopt. She is very friendly with the birth mother of one of those, and the birth mom is part of their life. She comes to events, she sees her child. Her child calls the adoptive parent mom and calls her birth mother by her first name. But that was the arrangement.
Yeah.
And the birth mom comes and talks, and it's so powerful to hear her say, I love these parents.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So it's been,
I think what I want to cover next is we'll be talking a little about donating time or donating things as a community here in Hartford. If we can't foster, if we can't do that, there's other stuff that you had said maybe we could do to participate and know that we're giving a little bit.
yes, we have in this district, just as an example, I went out and spoke to the Rotary Club, and they said, you know, we don't really see ourselves fostering. Almost everybody there said that. What else can we do? Well, we have a holiday party every year for the kids, and holiday stockings are done for the children, and they did some of those. Every August, we have a back-to-school picnic, and we provide each child in care with a fully loaded backpack so that they're ready to go to school. And they do those. Last year, they did 70 of them for us. And that's their community project, and it's wonderful. The VA donates gifts to all of our kids in care. We send them names, and their departments pick names and do presents for the kids.
Oh, nice.
We have one church that donates diapers to us, because when we have kids come in, they come with almost nothing.
Right.
So we keep bags and boxes of diapers to be able to send home with the kids at least the first night. And that church, when I need diapers, I call them and they bring me down boxes of diapers. And I have had kids that want to go to camp, and we only have $100 a year to give a child an enrichment. So we reach out to community partners to try and get that money pulled together so that the kids can go to camp and they can go to dance class. I had one girl that wanted to go to Outward Bound. I had one that wanted to go take ballet lessons. And all of this was donations that I have.
So people can donate, not necessarily anything, but they can donate like money, and they can give you a call to see if they have something that maybe as a community we could all do together and give it to DCF.
One thing that's been wonderful is I've had some donations of gift cards to McDonald's,
Yes,
to any place, any eating place, any clothing place. And that way we can give it to the foster parents and they can go out and get what the child needs.
What a great idea.
Yeah, and it's just been amazing. We have phone cards donated to us so that the kids can contact their family. And when that happens, we do ask that the foster parents stay in the room, have the speakerphone on so that they can hear what's going on. Just as an aside on that.
Right.
But we don't have a huge amount of storage at our place, so we ask some of the donations can go over to Listen, and then we give a voucher to go to Listen and get things.
Yep.
And that's another way that it can be done. And
But gift cards are good. I like that idea.
yeah, and gift cards to any place. We can use them, books, games,
Right, absolutely.
Walmart, Kmart.
Right, Walmart, Kmart, wherever.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And
And it doesn't have to be thousands of dollars.
No,
you
it
5,
doesn't.
10,
I was
whatever
going to
you can
say, I
afford.
got a stack of McDonald's gift cards given to me for $5 each.
Yeah.
That was wonderful. A kid goes out on a visit with their parents and go to McDonald's and have a meal.
And this is something as individuals, something we want to do. This would be great to go out and get a gift card and then
Yes.
call you up and bring it down.
Yep,
And it won't
absolutely.
take up all that space.
That's
I
right.
think that's a good idea.
I have a drawer in my desk that I keep all that stuff in. I'll organize, so I'm happy to take any gift cards, anything like that. It would be wonderful.
Well, Dana, I know we're just about out of time. So again, we just talked about what people can do to donate and things like that. Could you maybe give a message to people that are thinking about becoming foster carers and maybe the parents that would be losing custody of their children? Would you like to give them a message real quick?
Well, for the parents that may be losing their children, we really strive to find good, solid homes for your children. We absolutely hope it's temporary. We want your children to go home. We are not baby snatchers, as we've been called. We want our kids, your kids, to go home as long as it can be done safely. For the foster parents, we have your safety paramount to us, so we will make sure that things are done in a safe manner for you as well, because I know a lot of foster parents are a little bit nervous about this, but our birth parents want their children back, so they're not going to be a threat to the foster parents because they want to do what they have to do. So
That is so important. And I want to thank you for coming to Walking Through Life again. And I hope you can come back real soon and give us more of an update.
I would love to.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. We'll do it again.
Great.
Anyway, this is Linda Carbono, and the one thing I want to put out there is a challenge to some of you at home, sitting at home, wishing there was something that you could do to make a child's life a little bit better. And you heard Dana speak quite a bit about gift certificates from anywhere. Clothing stores, toy stores, anything that you can think of. It doesn't have to be a lot. McDonald's, $5 gift card, she was talking about that. Whatever you can do would definitely be appreciated. And I'm going to have her give the phone number again, so maybe you can call her and give her your idea of a gift.
You call the Hartford DCF office. Our number is 802-295-8840, and my name is Dina Rounds, the resource coordinator. Ask for me, and we'll work it out. Thank you.
All righty, we'll take you nut time and walk it through life. Bye-bye.
Walking through this life of mine, well, it's teaching me so many things, like how to love and how to lose and how to